Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Today, let's take a look at some Google search techniques. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So no matter what you do on your Mac, you probably perform web searches at some point or another throughout the day. You could simply type the terms that you want to search for and see what results you get. But there are a variety of special things that you could put in a Google search that will help you find what you want faster. I'm going to start off with the one I use the most, which is to perform a site-specific search. You do this by using the word site followed by a colon with no space after it and then immediately type the domain name of the website. So for instance, if I wanted to search for iMovie, I might just type iMovie. But if I wanted to search MACMOST for iMovie tutorials, I would simply type iMovie followed by site colon and then MACMOST.com. And notice that all my results, every single one of them, is going to be at MACMOST.com. Now you don't need to include the entire domain. If you want to search for just a top level domain like say .edu, you could do that instead. And then you're going to get results at any website that ends with .edu. After that, the next most common thing I use is minus to eliminate some results. For instance, I could type iMovie and then if I look at the results, I'm going to get various things here, including some pages that have reviews in them. If I want to not have any review show up, I can subtract review and you won't find any results that use that term. Likewise, you can use plus to make sure something is included. So if you just wanted to see iMovie reviews, you could use plus instead. And you can see all the results are going to include review either in the title or the body. Another thing you can do is use quotes. Quotes will do two things. First, they will absolutely make sure that that exact term is used in the result. Not a synonym for it and not maybe left off if there are other search terms in there as well. The other thing they'll do is they'll combine words to make sure they appear exactly in that order together. So if I were to do say knitting tutorial, the results are going to have exactly knitting tutorial. Not some other word for tutorial or knitting and not those two words in different parts. So you can see here most of the titles have it in there and in some cases it would be used in the body as well. Now you can use some of these together. For instance, you could use minus and site together to eliminate websites. So if I were to search for iMovie here, you could see I get results that are apple.com. If I want to remove apple.com from the results, I can do minus site and then apple.com. My results will include everything else but not apple.com. Now you can see the first result here is Wikipedia. I could add another minus site to that. And let's say I do .com. That's actually not going to work because Wikipedia is .org. But I could just do an asterisk instead. And you can see now it knows to remove .org, .com, .whatever. Another modifier you can use is intitle. If you use intitle colon and then you put a search term, then you're only going to get results that have that search term in the actual title, not just the body of the text. And you can combine these. So let's do a second term. And now I'm only going to get pages that have both knitting and tutorial in the title of the page. There's a companion one to this, in text. If you do in text instead of in title, it's looking in the body of the page. And you can also do in URL. So if I do iMovie and then in URL and say forum, then the URL, the actual web page address, has to have the word forum in it. So you could see here it's included in all of the URLs here. So let's say I wanted to search MACMOST for iMovie and I wanted to only see what was in the forum, not the video tutorials. So I could do site macmost.com and then in URL forum, and you can see every single one of the results matches that. I could put a minus in front of in URL to eliminate all of the forum responses and just see every other page at MACMOST that contains iMovie. Now using wildcards in Google searches is kind of tricky. They don't work the same way they do in programming languages and database searches. But you can use them for some things. For instance, if you type something like how to and then an asterisk on a Mac, you're going to get results that tend to follow the how to and then some text here on a Mac. And you'll see a lot of these are similar and it will start to diverge later down in the results. Now a big one that hasn't really been with us for that long is the ability to search before a date or after a date. So let's say I want to search for knitting tutorials, but I want to find recent ones. I could do after and then colon and then a date, but the date has to be in a special format. It's basically year and then dash and then month dash and day. And a lot of people like to put zeros in front of those to make it look like a proper Julian date. And now I'm only going to get results that are since June 1st of this year. I can leave off the day if I want it to be before the 1st of that month. And you could do the same thing with before. So if you wanted to find really old results, you could do something like that. And you can also use both before and after in the same search result to find something in a very specific range. Now you can use Boolean operators or an AND, but you have to use them in capital letters else it's going to think they are regular words you're searching for. So for instance, let's say I wanted to search for an Xbox and I wanted to look just on Amazon. I could do that. But I could also do or and then cite Best Buy. And now all of my results are going to be either Best Buy or Amazon results. And you can always use parentheses as well. Parentheses will group something together like that to make sure Google understands exactly what you want. Here's another example. Let's do intitle and then how to, and then I'll put in parentheses, knit or crochet a blanket. A more obscure search operator is around. So you could do something like knitting and then around has to be in all caps and then tutorial. And what this will say is knitting and tutorial need to be within 2 words of each other. And of course it's looking everywhere in titles and the body. So let's do in title. And now you can see knitting tutorials either together or in some cases it's separated but within 2. Another useful tip that I use all the time is not to worry about spelling. Google will figure out what you're trying to spell. Just spell it as best you can and usually Google can figure it out. So if I'm looking for information about the star and I can't remember the right way to spell it, I just do that and you could see it's going to say show results for and give me the right spelling. I didn't have to waste time to actually look up the proper spelling first. And I can always click there and change the actual search if I want to. Here's another one. There's a special search operator called related. And what this does is you give it a website and it will show it websites that Google thinks are related to it. So for instance, if you want to look up encyclopedia information and you can't think of where else besides Wikipedia you can go, you can do related and do wikipedia.org and you're going to get results that show you other sites that may have information similar to Wikipedia. Now beyond what you can type, there are a ton of tools that you can access after you do the search. So of course at the top you can narrow down by type. Like I can look at just videos or just shopping items or news. There's more here and you can go into say finance or just images. You also can click tools and depending upon the results you'll find different things here. The most useful is anytime. So instead of using before or after you can actually go here and do things like past week or past month, which are really useful especially as a programmer and you're looking at different versions of programming languages. I want results that are in the last year most of the time. So I'll do the search and then go and modify with past year. And finally, if you really want to do a powerful search, instead of just going to Google, go to google.com/advanced_search. And then you get this page. And this page allows you to do a lot of the things I just showed you but without having to remember what to type. So you can fill all this stuff out and do a very specific search. Even things I haven't talked about like by region or language or numbers ranging from one thing to the other. For instance, prices or weights or years, things like that. You can even search by file type. All sorts of things. So advanced search is really the place to go if you want to dig down and find information online. Don't just start with the regular Google page. Go here. So there are a whole bunch of tips, but by no means not everything Google can do. If there's a favorite search technique that you use that I haven't covered, mention it in the comments below. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.